To be honest, I can find my people anywhere. So
Yeah,
apparently that started in college.
Yep.
When I went to Korea, I found my people. In LA, I was, even when I was deciding to move from New Orleans, I was like, I have to go where Black people are. I'm not, because there's a lot of huge hubs of animation in like Austin, Texas, Seattle. I'm like, if I can't escape to my people,
all I can hear is Ariel. I want to be where Black people are.
Pretty much, yes. So I tried, and then I just was like, all right. I mean, we are small, but we are mighty at this school. But I could find the people. I only need a few. So, but there was more.
But you found your community, is what it sounds like. Hello, everyone. Today we have an amazingly extra special guest with us. We have Deborah Anderson. She is from Detroit, Michigan, by way of Los Angeles, California, and she is out here living the dream. She is a post-production coordinator. She is a professor at Santiago Canyon College. She teaches 3D modeling. She is an animator, and she's also an animation journalist, is what she calls herself, and she's a YouTuber as well. And she is so amazing. Her BS is from Rochester Institute of Technology, or RIT, where she studied multidisciplinary studies. And that makes so much sense because she's doing all the things. And she has extensive experience in the animation industry as a 3D modeler, assistant editor, and a production coordinator. And she started her career at one of the premier animation studios in Seoul, South Korea, at Digital Emation. And while she was there, she modeled props, vehicles, and backgrounds on TV shows such as Family Guy, The Cleveland Show, Batman, The Brave and the Bold, Scooby-Doo, The LeBrons, the list goes on. While she was living in New Orleans, Louisiana, she worked at TurboSquid for Louisiana Economic Development, Fast Start, as an animation specialist. And since she's moved to Los Angeles, she's worked on the animated Good Times, Al Roker's The Weather Hunters, and Amazon Prime's Invincible. As I mentioned, she has a YouTube channel called Black Women Animator, where she interviews animation professionals from disenfranchised communities, and she recently reached a milestone of interviewing 100 Black animation professionals. So welcome, Deborah. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Aww. So see, she got to 100, Jeremy. I'm trying to get us to 100 episodes. Jeremy is like resisting. That. She has been resisting, but see, it's possible.
It's possible. You give Kyla hope.
Things are happening every day.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so how did we find Deborah? What happened? How did this happen?
So what had happened was, I'm trying to remember the first time I we're both in the same online community. Okay. And I remember seeing her name and I was like, Black woman animator? What? She's a Black woman animates. Self-described. I'm like, that's amazing. This is a cool way to use technology and computing in a way that folks don't already do this. So I think I was like, okay, let me click on her stuff. Oh, okay, she's amazing. Let me reach out. And so I think we had been trying, and I think like either we weren't recording at the time I first asked, and a bunch of back and forth, but finally we were able to make it work. So yeah. Did I miss anything?
That's super exciting. That is really cool. Okay,
that's
so
how
I like it. Okay. You are used to this but you're usually on the other side of the table, right? So to speak, with the interviewing process. So we always like to start off with how you got to where you are. And that starts with where you from, what it was like when you were young, and what influenced you. So what was it like back in the day in Detroit?
All right.
Detroit versus everybody, 3-1-3.
Hey.
What up, though? So yeah, I'm from Detroit, Michigan, the East Side, Casual and Mac. And pretty much I grew up, drawing and all that stuff. I lived with my mom. and my older sister, my older brother, and my twin brother.
Oh, you have a twin.
Oh,
That's
you're a
cool.
Yes, typically
twin.
once I introduce the twin brother, people forget about all my other siblings.
Oh,
And I'm like, no, I always mention them at the beginning. But you only remember that I have a twin and I have,
hilarious.
so I grew up in Detroit, and then moved to New Orleans middle of fourth grade. And so
Okay.
I lived there for 2.5 years, and then me and my twin brother, we moved with our father back in Michigan. And I got to participate in organized sports and
What was your
do
sport?
different things.
What was your sport?
Well, my main sport was basketball, but from middle school on, I did try softball, volleyball, and when I was in high school, our basketball coach was a track coach, and he made us run track. And I ain't never been nobody's fast of anything, and so I tried out for all the things. Apparently, I can't jump far, I can't jump high, I can't throw nothing. So I did the 1 mile and the 2 mile because he forced us to be on the track team. And as soon as he wasn't our basketball coach, I quit track. So
Wow. I mean, they call it conditioning. They're like, oh, yeah, in the off season.
but yeah, I just was not. I don't have no quick twitch in my muscles or nothing. I actually got in trouble with that my freshman year of because I played 4 years varsity, and I was a guard.
Okay.
And
Just
so
casually,
right?
like, I was
Like, wait a
varsity
minute,
all the
like-
time.
And so, like, I'm a guard. So, typically you have the guard times, the forward times, and the center times, and they get slower and slower. But so you're supposed to be the fastest. And we had to do all this running. And the first, well, they call them, I don't know, they don't call them the other word, but the down and back, the
Oh,
they don't
yeah.
call it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first one, I didn't make the time. And they did, damn, like, this is the first one. I'm like,
You
Oh my
will, and it's not going to get better either because I'm tired. So.
so I had to like try very hard. But yeah, and I got to participate in like science Olympiad and all that type of stuff. And I always was good at all the subjects. I didn't like all the subjects. I didn't like science. I didn't like English because I didn't talk that much when I was a child. And so if I had to do a 5-page paper, I'll like write it out first. And I'm like, well, it's a paragraph. I said all I had to say. I got 4.5 pages to go. So I was like, I could do all the subjects and I was smart. I just didn't actually like them. And then, after, high school and college, I realized I like all of them. I just don't like getting a grade for them. So,
Yeah.
so I was
So did
like,
you
really
do
good
like
at math.
camps and things like during high school in these subjects?
No, mostly I did basketball camps. I never really did because when we grew up, they had all the camps on the TV, and I never went to like only sleepaway camp I went to was basketball related in like Indiana, and then I think I went to another one in Illinois. But I never went to like the fun. I mean, basketball was fun, but the
but
purely
not like
fun
the
ones, I never did that.
Right, not the Nickelodeon,
Right.
Camp Solution Shorts camp.
Right. So, and I, those were fun. But yeah, I did clubs of like the different subjects and stuff like that. But I actually did the NAACP AXO program my junior year. I think I made a white lady cry.
Oh,
My thing was on. I did Black History, and so I had
Okay.
all like
Facts.
Christmas addicts. I did a motion graphics piece. And I was like, even at the time, I was like 16. I'm like, it is not that serious to be crying.
but she maybe never had like all that presented to her in that way, in
And I
such
had
a
the
real.
good music. I had the little, the spirituals music and stuff in the
When
background.
you
So it was very
were
moving.
honing your skills, your craft, it was the beginnings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was like, all right. And so I was the only person competing in my category, but that didn't necessarily mean you won. And so I did win, and I got to go to nationals in Philadelphia. And I think I got second place. I lost to like this 10-year-old kid who did animation, but it was good. Like I wasn't mad that I lost because I was like, he did that at 10. He did like a 2D animation. I was like, okay, that's good. I wish I could find his name to see if he's still doing 2D.
Probably,
but yeah.
if he's doing that at 10 years old, he probably has his own studio or something.
Right.
Were you always like able to draw and interested in animation, or was it something that kind of just built itself over time?
Yeah, I was always interested in art and math. And so when I would go over my grandma's house, my like cousins had the little X-Men babies comic book and I would draw. They thought I traced. I was like, actually, I forgot the index finger right there. So I didn't trace. I actually drew it. And then I had my little VHS tapes and my Disney book. Like we had a Disney book set at home, and I would draw the stuff from the covers of the VHS tapes and the books. And then later, like, your parents don't always tell you everything. And so I didn't realize, for some reason, I didn't realize that my dad could draw. I remember when we were in Detroit, I was in the Schiffer robe and there was like a sketchbook, and it was like a really nice sketch of, I don't remember if it was a chipmunk or a squirrel. I was like, who did this? But he says he taught me how to draw. Apparently.
You're just like, I blacked that part out. You're like, I've always been able to draw.
I am very jealous of people who can remember large swaths of their childhood. Like, I just...
Me too. Me too.
Don't remember.
That's hilarious.
I feel like I blacked out or something. Like, there's like a huge gap.
Wow.
I don't remember a lot. I'm like, well, I remember this thing
a lot of
from
my
when
childhood.
I was 5.
No, they'll be like, I was 3 years old and so
no,
and so
I do
did
have 3-year-old memories.
See,
because I remember,
no one believes that, Kyla.
I remember
no
the act of remembering. Like, I remember I was like, oh, I thought about something that happened yesterday. Oh, like I literally remembered like discovering that I could remember things. And I'm like, okay, my mom was combing my hair and I was like, I'm going to remember this. She's combing my hair. Like, I don't know. It was
no one believes that.
I'm telling you.
Whatever.
Believe it, girl. I know
wild.
exactly where I was sitting. We were in the kitchen, all that.
Wait, do you see yourself or do you see other things?
Who, me?
Because they say, like, if you see yourself in the remembrance, then it's not a memory. It's like you just recalling the
No.
situation.
I can see me looking at the floor while she's combing my hair. Like, I see the floor. I'm
so
inside
she has
of the
a legit
memory.
people.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Had to test it.
I did.
Because she was like blow drying my hair hard. And I was like, maybe I was scarred for life. And it was just like a traumatizing experience.
Were you tender-handed or not?
Yes, I was.
Was she?
Yes. And I was just like, But this is not about me. It's
I'm
about
like,
you.
where did we go left?
How did we get here?
Yeah, like, so I did draw. What's interesting is in high school, I never took the art class because the lady, I heard the lady was mean. Apparently, this actually is a pattern in my life because that's also why I had to change my major. I originally was getting a BFA in film video animation, and then I got behind on my 1/4 film in college. And another reason I didn't take a certain professor is because she was rumored to be mean.
Oh, wow. So you were just
I never
like...
had a problem with her in the 2 classes I had, but I just don't want to have one. I don't want to present the opportunity, so I just stay away from mean ladies who teach art.
I mean, you're protecting your peace is what they call it now.
That's what they call it now. But back then, avoidance. Yeah.
Right. But protecting, but it's what is this? It's a spectrum,
Yeah. But I did do, okay, so y'all remember the commercial, do y'all remember the commercial where it was like draw the turtle or draw the pirate? And it's called Art Instruction Schools.
Yeah.
And so I did that in high school as well. That's how I got transfer credit. Because I did the dual enrollment and then I did art instruction school. So both things gave me transfer credit when I went to RIT. And so I got, it was on the quarter system, 3 quarters instead of 2 semesters. So after the first quarter, I actually had sophomore status.
Yeah. So what made you pick RIT? Because you mentioned earlier your dad was a professor. He's at a whole university you could have gone to. You flew over a whole lot of universities or drove past to get to RIT. Like, did they have a good program? Did you know someone there?
So there were multiple reasons. One, I'm a twin, so I wanted to be an individual for the first time in my life. So I wanted to leave Michigan.
Yeah, I could see that.
So I was not planning on going to school in Michigan. Another thing was I wanted to study animation. Once I found animation as a career, I wanted to study it and play basketball. And there are not a lot of art schools with sports teams. So I didn't have a lot to choose from anyway. So it was RIT, SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design in Savannah, Georgia, and then St. Clair College, which is in Canada. And I actually looked it up either this year or last year, and my commute, I could have actually stayed at the crib and
really
commuted to Canada, because it's actually only 40 minutes from my house, even though it's
wow. Yeah.
And then I was telling my friends recently, even though I was like smart, graduated 10th in my class, did AP classes, did dual enrollment. Once it was time to apply for college, I got lazy. So SCAD actually required a portfolio. Did I have the images to send in my portfolio? Yes. But did I want to do that? No. And RIT did not require a portfolio. So I applied and I got in.
So it's like, if we just lower the barrier to entry, we'll get some great talent.
I feel like this is a consistent theme happening here of like, if there was resistance that was incoming, I'm avoiding.
It's like, resistance. I don't like that over there.
I mean, I was an overachiever, but I underachieved applying to college. I don't know.
Right? Like, basketball is a sport where you have to run into like literal human being obstacles.
Nope. She is doing twirls around everybody. Like, nope,
okay.
Nope,
that's what it is.
Nope.
Spin move.
Yep. Exactly.
Okay. All right. What was New York like?
So I didn't know everybody had their own flag. Like, from Michigan, it's black, white, Mexican, Arabic. And then we got, they on the news, they talk about Punchki Day, so you got the Polish a little bit. But everybody got a flag. Because I went to school with people from New York City, so everybody knew where they came from.
What high school did you go to in Detroit?
I went to high school at Romulus. So Romulus High School.
By the airport.
Yes.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who graduated from Romulus High School that I did like dance with. Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
So, but that's like the journey of understanding patois. Like, in college, I just was like, y'all are laughing at jokes that I do not understand. Now when I listen to the videos, I'm like, okay, I understand like 80 to 90% of it. I've been practicing for the past, 20 years or whatever. But at the time, I was like, what are y'all saying?
Right. Where am I? What are you talking about?
That's also when I learned Caribbean men cook. So one of the guys, he used to, had a munchies, and then he would cook. I'd be like, let me go over Orange House, because he's making some oxtail or some jerk chicken at 2 a.m. and I'm hungry. So
that sounds amazing.
Free food was my thing in college.
I think it's everybody's.
Yes, that is the motivation for everything.
So, and then. Yeah, like, everybody was from New York City, the DMV area. There were people from other places, but that was like where a lot of people were from. I learned what the boroughs were. I don't know what I thought. I think I thought the boroughs, like Brooklyn and all that, and New York City were all different things. And then I realized, the boroughs make up New York City. Did not know that.
Because if you don't live there, you don't have a reason to know that.
Right.
I'm trying to think when I realized that. Like, it was probably high school, but like, we don't learn about other places for real, right? And then you go there and you're just like, what is this place? Like, what's happening here? Why is it so different? Yeah. New York is definitely its own thing.
It is. It is its own monster.
Over the time, because it's upstate New York, so I knew. Right. And then, I was in a sorority, and some of my sorority sisters, I'm a Zeta Phi Beta sorority incorporated. And so,
so you say it like that.
We have to, if I don't pronounce the T's, I will be banned.
Okay. It was just under your breath. Like, come on.
I have to
say it with your chest.
That is serious.
But like, some of my older sorority sisters went to RIT and were like, oh, I just thought I was going to stay for a couple years. And then 15 years later, so I was like, I'll live under a bridge before I stay not a bridge. Because it's like, when you're on the campus, it's fun. But, Rochester is more, I feel like Rochester is more a place where you raise a family. And if you're 21.
Yeah, there's nothing for you there. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, like, so the campus was fun. I tried to hang out with my peers, because my freshman year.
Peers like they're beneath you, like my peers.
No, it's code for people who don't look like me.
Got it.
Because my freshman year, I was one of 2 people in my major that black people, so it was me and another black guy. And animation period. People are quirky. So I tried it. And then I just was like, okay, I will hang out with my people for the rest of college.
I'm sure that had to be like a huge shift too, right? Coming from Detroit and then upstate New York is the demographics are quite different?
To be honest, I can find my people anywhere. So apparently, apparently that started in college.
Yeah.
When I went to Korea, I found my people. When in LA, even when I was deciding to move from New Orleans, I was like, I have to go where Black people are. I'm not, because there's a lot of huge hubs of animation in like Austin, Texas, Seattle. I'm like, if I can't escape to my people, I'm not moving there. So
all I could hear is Ariel, I want to be where Black people are.
Pretty much, yes. So I tried, and then I just was like, all right. I mean, we are small, but we are mighty at this school. But I could find the people. I only need a few. So
yeah,
but there was more than a few. But yeah,
but you found your community, is what it sounds like. And you mentioned before we started taping that you were interested in electrical engineering before that or around that time. So what was that realization that you were just like, I'm not about to do this?
So the journey was like, because I was always good at art and math, I initially was like architect, but then I found out they don't really draw for real. And then I had a phase in like middle school where I drew shoes from the side. I don't know. And so I was like, maybe industrial designer, industrial engineer. I don't know why I moved on from that. And then I think in high school, because I was in, there was this thing called Project Lead the Way that prepare people for like engineering. I took a lot of those classes. I took electronics. I took CAD and Rhino, all that type stuff. And I was on a robotics team. I actually joined the robotics team because first had a animation portion of the competition. So I actually joined to do the animation portion.
And first robotics, right?
Yeah, first robotics. And our team was sponsored by GM. And so we were building the robot, and I ended up being like one of the main 3 students that helped build the robot instead of doing the animation portion. And I did like all the electrical work and stuff. I mean, with the guidance of GM engineers, I'm not a survivor or anything.
But still, you did it.
But yeah, and then it was funny because that particular year, because did they have different competitions each? Because I know we went to nationals that year, and I remember the competition was like you had to shoot stuff into the thing, and you had to build the robot to be. There was like a 30-second autonomous mode, and then the person could control it, and then you had a human player that would like try to score. So you had the robot trying to score in these PC.
This sounds like you.
PC pipes. Yeah. And so I was actually the human player because I played basketball. So I like, used my basketball skills
this
that
robot
year
ain't
too.
about to junk on me.
So I had to be behind this like glass and just like shoot and stuff like that. So that was funny too. So yeah. And then, so at that time, I'm like, okay, electrical engineer. But then my father is a professor, so he is the one that got us in dual enrollment. We were the first people at Romulus to do dual enrollment, and then a lot of my classmates did it too. Like some of my people did it at U of M. Some people did it, like I did at a community college. So I took 7 classes, and the 7th class was 3D. And so that's when I was like, I was, I'm a Disney kid, but all my peers were like, "Oh, how do you do that?" I was just like, "Cool story, bro, math." and so like my senior year of high school, once I took that class, I'm like, oh, okay, because I could draw, but I only drew from like real life, and so getting the thing from my head to the paper was very difficult. That's what I like. I feel like the creative, I feel like I'm analytical and creative, but the creative people sometimes have an easier time with the imagination and all that stuff. And with me always drawing from real life, it kind of made sense that I would go into 3D, particularly in 3D production. You're creating what the character designer or the prop designer, you're creating what they drew.
Right.
And so
it's almost like a recreation, reimagination. Yeah.
You're like, it's here. Let's just
take it from a 2D a piece of paper to like actually making it look lifelike, like it could move.
Yeah,
and
and it's funny because every 6 months when the HBCU versus PWI conversation comes up, I'm like, there was no HBCU with animation, and then people, oh well, you could have did this and did that. I didn't have time to figure it out. I waited. I didn't find it to my senior year of high school. I need you to teach me to think. Like if I found it my freshman year of high school, okay, let me go to Howard, study film, take art classes, do this. But I don't got time. Just teach me animation.
I think that's a good point. Like, I think a lot of people feel like, you can introduce kids to careers as long as they're in high school, it's enough time. But really, like, the research actually shows, like, they need to know elementary school, really, like, is when we should be teaching them about career options. And they learn about doctors and firefighters, police officers. They learn all of those things. We're not like, bring your engineer to school, bring an animator to school. Like, that's not happening, right?
Yeah.
So they don't see it. They don't know.
Yeah. So I'm your friendly neighborhood animation professional. And that's why I started Black Woman Animator, because it took me so long and I wanted to be able to introduce kids to the idea of being in animation earlier. So.
Yeah. And do you think it's mostly exposure that they don't know this is like, okay, this is a purely selfish question. If you cannot draw, can you still be an animator? Or will it just be 10 times more difficult for you?
Yeah, that's the power of 3D. Like, obviously, with some skills in 3D, drawing can aid and help, but there are a lot of 3D specialties that you don't have to know how to draw. And then even in 2D, like for example, right now I'm a post-production coordinator. And so working in production, I don't draw at all. It's more about organization and scheduling meetings and stuff like that.
So you don't get to do the fun stuff. You're like, okay, let me arrange the people who are doing the fun stuff.
Yeah.
She did it.
Yeah, that's right. You did.
Because like when I'm an assistant editor, it's a little bit better. It's not purely creative. But yeah, being in production is very much about organization. Now I'm capable. But it's like,
but do you miss?
It's very people-y.
Yeah, and you're like, look, I can see you like, look, y'all are having too much drama. Look,
man, it's like herding cats, and it's one thing to herd trained cats, but to be herd feral cats. Like my last job was a script coordinator. I'll never do that again. That's like the people-y of the people-iest. And
what
the
does
hardest
a script coordinator do?
You organize the scripts. Yeah, I was scheduling meetings across 3-4 time zones. I got because as an assistant editor, I was in meetings, but you don't gotta pay attention. As script coordinator, I gotta take notes too. I gotta pay attention this whole meeting. This is crazy.
So is it like making sure that the mouths match up with like the animation matches up with what's being said?
No, this is before the animation takes place. This is all in script where you're meeting with the freelance writers to get them to create the episodes and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
It's like, what kind of emotion are you trying to evoke through this? Like, what's going on in the scene overall? Like those details. Yeah.
See, that's why I say why South Park is so crudely drawn, and they can pump out one in an afternoon, because it's like they just don't have any extra details. It's just
facial expression.
Yeah, bad facial expressions on purpose. But back to you. What tools and software did you use initially when you first started, like in college?
Okay.
What?
In college. We'll go
in college.
Yeah. So back in college, we used Autodesk Maya, which is still an industry standard to this day. And I actually got the opportunity to take my first 3D class my freshman year, which at the time it was like, because when we first got to RIT, they would be like, you have to posit like, oh, our college is better than this other college. So they were like, oh, we're better than NYU because you get to touch a camera your freshman year. So, my freshman year, first quarter, we did the Bolex cameras where you have to wind it for power and cut and splice the film and tape it together. Cool. And then the second quarter we did digital cameras, And then the third quarter, we still did digital cameras, but it was more concentrated on audio. But then that's the spring quarter is when I got to take my first 3D class, and I met my TA, Karabo Laguela. He was from Botswana, and he was my mentor, my first mentor in 3D. So
that's cool. I know a tiny bit about Maya, but is there like a coding ability too within Maya?
that is a possibility, but it's not required.
Okay.
So it's a very powerful program where even if you're a master at it, you possibly don't know how to use, at least a master in what you do, you possibly still don't know how to use 90% of the program.
Yeah, like you don't have to code for part of it, but you can.
I think this is interesting because Autodesk is like a massive company, and they do a lot of like visualization in their software packages. Like you mentioned, you thought you would be an architect. I'm sure they use a lot of Autodesk products.
Yes. AutoCAD.
Yeah. See, it all comes back around.
It all comes back around. And you can get like certified in those things, like how you were in high school. You can get certifications in these different packages. Do you have a certification?
So I have thoughts about certifications.
Ooh, I want to know. Tell me about it.
Because I'm also in education. So certifications in, if it's like 3D and all that type of stuff mean nothing. So when I was back in 2013, when I was in New Orleans, I was teaching at actually, I was preparing to teach at Delgado Community College, and they were very much like, because I understand for education, you need like milestones and goals and all that type stuff.
Yeah.
And so they were like, oh, we want to teach to the certification. So I was just like, okay, maybe I should take the certification so I can teach to it. And I remember I took the 2012 and the 2013 Autodesk Maya certification, and the associate one, it just, how there's those tests where it's like you have to study for how to take the test because the questions are what's weird, not the information,
not the content.
And I was like, why are y'all asking these questions in these ways? This is very confusing.
It's not practical.
Yeah. And then the professional version, that was like, okay, we're in Maya, and honestly, because I'm very intelligent and I'm a good troubleshooter, I didn't know everything that they were talking about on the professional one, but I could figure it out. And so I was like, okay, I like taking the professional test because at least we're in the program, and I'm smart enough to figure out if I don't know what the heck a up vector y was, I can
figure it out.
Is it here? Okay, yes, it is here.
Right.
But I was like, once you get to the industry, don't nobody care if you got no certification, nothing.
Can you do the work? The task?
Exactly.
So,
because there's probably people with certs that don't know how to do their job.
There's
they've
people
been hired
with degrees,
for.
like because of my YouTube channel, I have a lot of people reach out to me, and sometimes you look at their portfolio, and it's very unfortunate that they spent 4 years and it's not up to par. So
if you could tell like programs what to do to prepare students for this line of work, what would you like tell them to change?
Tell them to change?
Or just like you mentioned that the portfolios weren't where they needed to be. Like what should they change about like their program and how they're preparing students?
Oh, okay. So it's hard because education is so bureaucratic. So it's like it's hard to stay on the pulse of the industry because you got to go through so much red tape.
I would say in a perfect world.
Yes. Okay. So basically, we like replicate a production environment, and to be honest, it would be possibly having people who have worked in the industry be the professors. And so I remember when I was teaching at a high school in Crenshaw, I saw the final projects that the previous person who taught my class, which was a 3D modeling class or 3D class for 9th and 10th graders, and their final project was like, y'all took a whole year to do that?
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, no.
And so sometimes maybe the person doesn't know enough to be able to teach the kids
Yeah.
or the students
Yeah.
in a college level enough. And so I pride myself as a professor on being able to take you from zero to hero in a very short time. And I try to prepare my students to not need, because I currently teach continuing education. So it's all adults.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I try to prepare them to not need me necessarily. So a lot of my curriculum on my modules is YouTube videos so that you can get used to different people, and also possibly subscribe to them, and you can know how to like follow a tutorial and everything. And I I tell my students, even though I have a lot of videos on this online course, I watched way more videos because you have to go through the muck and the mire. That's what's hard about self-learning, is that you don't know what tutorial is a good tutorial. You don't know if they're teaching you good techniques. So as a professional, I can look at a video and some people who teach on YouTube, it's like, they teach good, but he thinks this one thing and I don't want to teach my students that. And so I'll skip over that person. I think also an important part is, for example, when people learn a program, they'll think, oh, I'm a 3ds Max artist, or I'm a Maya artist, or I'm a Blender artist. You're a 3D artist. Like
Right.
I started with Maya in college. When I worked in Korea, we used Maya and Softimage XSI. I had never heard of Softimage ever in my life. It was a French company. Autodesk bought it in a 20. I know they had a Softimage 2015. They bought it around that time and then kind of killed it.
Oh.
Companies buy and get rid
Yeah,
of
they
it.
do all that.
It's,
That
it's
happens
like,
all the
look,
time.
competition? What
Yeah.
competition?
And then when I worked for the state of Louisiana, I used Maya and Cinema 4D. I teach Blender now. So when I was working at Turbo Squid, they had an advisory board, and one guy who worked at a gaming company made that point of sometimes when they get new workers, they're like, oh, I learned this program, and it's like, you know how to do 3D, you just have to learn the navigational tools and how
Yeah.
to, okay, this is what it's called in this program, what is it called in this program. You have to
Right.
have transferable skills. You have transferable skills, you just got to figure out how to do it in this program. So
We do
And
the
we
same
say,
thing.
yeah, I was about to say the same thing for Jeremy saying, like, we have the same thing with like programming, because like students be like, oh, I'm a Java programmer, I'm a C++ programmer, but it's like, no, you know how to program.
yeah.
The language is just a tool. And like you said, you just have to learn how to do input and output in this language, or, all these different things. So it's a lot of analogies here. Same thing with the
thing.
certs too.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting to hear, though, from someone who's like, their career is industry, right?
Yeah.
So for us, like, we can tell them those things as faculty,
Yeah.
like, hey, like, no, you learned solid modeling, right? But to hear it from someone who's like, I'm a 3D animator, this is what I do,
Yeah.
it holds a lot more weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you
Another
for
thing I will
sharing
say, because you asked about the portfolios, is because it's hard, because as an artist you're always comparing yourself to people, and that can stunt you actually. But if you're trying to get into the professional realm, you have to look at what is professional and see and be able to have like the taste. You have to develop your taste enough to see that you don't have that yet. And then it's really good to tailor. So sometimes people will want to work for a Nickelodeon, but they have a bunch of like anime stuff in their portfolio. And it's
Oh.
like, if you
That's
don't,
not the same style.
yeah. So you have, so
There's
you
a
have to
disconnect.
try to have the
Yeah.
same style. And or like also maybe have a lot of styles in your portfolio. Maybe you section them off, but it gives you more jobs that you can apply to. If you have, okay, this is the the SpongeBob style, this is the Steven Universe style, this is the anime style or whatever, and so that you can market yourself better to more people. Because some people, like particularly in my industry, whether they're white Black or anything, they're really into anime, and it's like anime is done in Japan.
Right.
Almost none of the like animation for American shows is done here. So done a lot of in vendor studios, overseas studios. That's how I got my opportunity at my first job. So a lot of the pre-production is done here. So there's a lot of students learning 2D, but we don't create 2D in America. And now you can try to use the 2D and become like a storyboard artist, because we do a lot of pre-production in America, particularly in LA. There's other areas, but like in LA, you're doing the pre-production. So you're doing the writing, the character design, the timing. So you have the editors who put that, like when you have a storyboard, you have to put it in what's called an animatic, which is kind of a moving storyboard to give the guidance to the overseas studios of like, okay, this is the timing we want of the animation, whether they're doing the 2D or 3D. And so a lot of it is pre-production in the US. And so a lot of students are just not informed. And even when I'm in college, they teach the hard, like, I won't say the hard skills, but because that's not what I'm trying to say. They teach the production skills. They don't teach anything about pre-production. And so it's not until you introduce to industry professionals that you learn about storyboarding or, being an animatic editor or being a production coordinator. Or, like, they didn't mention production at all. I don't feel. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, they need to have the whole experience, not just the one piece of it.
Yeah.
So I have another question, and this is kind of going back to your education at RIT. So you mentioned like your degree was in everything. And I think most people, when they look at a multidisciplinary studies program, they're like, they didn't know what they wanted. And that's why they did that degree. You clearly knew.
So
what
the background of
wanted.
that is, again, I started with a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Film, Video, and Animation. I had sophomore status at 1 quarter in. I was a freshman with sophomore status. Got my all debit. I could eat anywhere. I didn't have to eat at the freshman places no more.
Oh, you was big fancy.
I didn't have to park at the freshman.
I was just about to say parking was different.
I had to park closer.
Came in with the upgrade.
Because I just went to New Jersey last weekend, and I was reminiscing with some of my friends. I was like, yeah, I had all debit. I ain't tell y'all because y'all would have ate up all my stuff.
Wow. I
had some very peculiar friends in the freshman. We called ourselves 0405 track stars. It was a time. But yeah, like wait, I lost my train of thought. What was I saying?
Multidisciplinary.
Okay, sorry. All right, so
I got you.
I was ahead of the game. And actually, when I ended up changing my major, I had less credits and less classes to take than if I had changed my major, but the time it would take. So I had, in my program, it was like the 1 quarter film took 1 quarter, or 2 quarter film took 2 quarters, and our thesis took 3 quarters. Because I had to take the 1 quarter 3 times, because I didn't take it with the mean lady, because the mean lady told everybody to do 30 seconds. Mine was 2 minutes. And I did it by myself. And this is my first time creating a film. So my professor didn't give me those constraints. He didn't really guide me at all, to be honest. He didn't even remember my name. And I'm one of 5 black people in the dang on program.
Had one job.
And so I was like, okay, I gotta change. Well, I felt convicted to change my major, because I'm like, my daddy sent 2 people to college. I decided to go to a private university that's $32,000 a year. And then I don't want to be a 5-year senior and make him pay all that money. And thankfully, my dad actually took the bulk of both of our student loans.
That's great.
It still took me way longer to pay off my version, my portion. He paid off it all. He had so much more. He paid it off years ago. And so I was like, okay, I'll change my major to multidisciplinary studies, because I could, it's the same thing. I just had to take the credits because we had the quarter system, and I used to make fun of my brother, because I'm like, you got to take anthropology and all that stuff, because RIT, you kind of went directly into your major. You did have to take some social sciences stuff, but not as much as semester schools. But then they changed the curriculum the year after me. So when I changed my major, I had to take the 2 math courses, the 1 science course, and maybe some other stuff. And so I had way more classes to take to graduate. So I had to, when I went home in the summers, I did some community college stuff to kind of catch up. And so multidisciplinary studies was how I could still graduate on time with the credits that I had. So yes, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just needed to graduate in 4 years.
That makes so much more sense to me because I
Yeah.
think most people will be like, oh, don't do that because nobody will know what you want to do when you're done. But I mean, you knew.
But I also knew that animation didn't care what your degree was. Can you do the work? Like a lot of people in animation don't even have a degree. So, or they,
That's a good point.
you know, there's a lot of people who are like, I was a lawyer. There's a lot of people who were just like, I guess they went the normal route and they're like, oh, let me do what I love. And then they got into the animation industry or something like that. So.
Okay. And then you were like, you know what? Korea.
Right. I'm going to go across the pond. I need to know all the things. How'd you get there? Yes, tell us.
So if
Korea.
you had told me January 2009 that I would be in Korea August 2009, I would have called you a bold-faced liar because that's how quick the decision was. Even in college, I never thought about traveling internationally before college. It just never was a thought. I don't know why. And then when I was in college, I was like, oh, maybe I could study abroad in England because they speak English. But I never had the money to study abroad or whatever. And so I graduated during an excellent time in American economy in 2008.
Tell the people,
I was about to say.
the people, because I've been yelling at my grad students about what it was like when I was graduating.
Yes.
We were the same year. So please tell them.
So it was just like I moved to New Orleans after I graduated from college. I had procured a boyfriend. So I was deciding between Atlanta and New Orleans. And so since I had a boyfriend, I was like, I guess I'll move where he at. And then I tried for a year to apply and get a role in animation. It wasn't working out. That was actually partially my fault because I was not properly prepared. That's kind of the journey and story of like me finally getting my job in Korea. I juxtaposed those two things. At the time, I just was like, okay, I'm putting a website with some images up and I'm not getting a job. And then so I graduated from high school with a 3.8. I graduated from college with a 2.7, and I did not have a mental breakdown. I made every excuse. I even tried to get tested for like dyslexia or something, and they just told me I read like I was a junior reading at a master's degree level. I'm like, well,
they're
I'm
like,
just lazy.
ma'am, that's not it.
So, but I didn't have no type of existential crisis like, oh, I used to be like, I know I'm still smart. I'm not trying that hard. And this is the quarter system. I had all the reasons.
Yeah.
And so I'm applying to like Northrop Grumman and like Raytheon for like graphic design, but they want you to have a 3.0. I'm like, this is art. I don't even have a 3.0. And so I'm just like, this is dumb. And so what happened, there was somebody from college, I saw her posting pictures and she was like, whitewater rafting and bungee jumping out. And I didn't really talk to her in high school, in college, but I was just like, what are you doing? And she's like, she's teaching English. I had never heard of teaching English.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was like, okay, if I don't get a job by May, I'll try to go to Korea to teach English. So that's from May to like June, July. I did all the research because it looked like a risk take. I was like, jumping off the ledge, but I did so much. I'm still an analytical person, so I did so much research because I was like, okay, I'm bad with directions. How am I know where to go?
Right.
I don't drink, and they have a heavy drinking culture. How would that? I was like doing all the research.
Yeah.
And then, there are so many things that I've watched where when people talk about their journeys and they were like, if I knew then how long it was going to take or how hard it was going to be, I would have never started. And so for me, I didn't realize that I was applying late. If I wanted to be in Korea in August, I should have been applying in March. But because I didn't know, I just did it. So I was actually late to my orientation, like a week, not a week late, but a few days late to my orientation because I was still getting my paperwork. I was getting my diploma apostilled. I still don't really know what that means, and I got it done.
An apostle had to bless it and say, yes, this came from America.
I don't know. Like, while I'm doing the process, I'm like, what does this word mean? And I got it done, but I still can't tell you what it means. I had to get did I already have a passport? I can't remember. I think I already had a passport.
I was going to say, if you didn't have a passport and you were applying for all this stuff.
No, because when I'm from Michigan, I went to school in upstate New York. I actually went through Canada to get there because it's shorter. It's 6 hours through Canada. If I stayed through the States, it was 9 hours, and you had to go to a lot of mountainous areas. But back then, you only needed a birth certificate to go to Canada. And so I think in 2006, I got a passport because Bush was like telling people, oh, we're going to start requiring a passport. And because I'm going to school, I'm like, okay, let me get my passport now. It didn't happen until after I graduated, though. And so I already had my passport. And so, that was a quick, like, and then I was like, I don't want to tell anybody till I get placed because I went through a recruiting agency to get placed. And they were like, oh, you got your placement in Seoul. And I was like, okay, finally I could tell everybody. So I put it all on Facebook. And then a couple of days later, they're like, oh, we actually overhired. So we got to replace you somewhere else. I'm like, I just told everybody
I just told the whole world. Right.
But luckily, because I went through a recruiting agency, they kind of made it shake. And so I got a placement in Gwangju, which is in the south of Korea. And so I just was like, no. And I didn't know Korean. I tried to learn Korean when I was there, but it's a level 4 language for people who speak English, and I was just I'm a recovering perfectionist, so that grammar was throwing me for a loop. I'm just like, I don't know how to make complex sentences, but I did try. Like I think I'm possibly a natural at languages. When I was in 7th grade, I took exploring languages, and you know how you had to go do the popcorn reading. We were on Italian, and my teacher was from she was Italian. Not directly from Italy, I don't think, but she's Italian. And so I'm reading the passage and I look up, everybody looking at me. I'm like, why are everybody looking at me? She was like, your accent is very good. I'm like, okay, but I'm an introvert. Can y'all stop staring?
Yeah, it's like, okay, this is too much attention.
So when I went to Korea, by the time I left, they were calling me Hanguksaram, which means Korean person, because I could pronounce the heck out of any a language. I just don't know a lot. I don't read.
It's like, I don't know what you're saying, but I can read.
Yeah, because I don't want to be a typical American butchering y'all language. And if you do butcher their language, they're not used to people speaking their language, so you got to say it perfectly. Because if I'm in a taxi, I'm not about to be on the wrong side of town because I said this word wrong, or I'm gonna just write it down at that point. Like, this is where I need to go.
So you went over. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, you went over to teach English, and then you just scooted into animation studio. Is that what happened?
Of course. No, she did a spin move. Sorry.
Yeah, spin move. And so, teaching English was a fairy tale land. You teach 4 classes a day. I decided, because, okay, we're native speakers, but we don't know no grammar. We can't teach y'all that. Y'all grammar probably better than ours. So I was like, let my Korean co-teachers who got a degree in this, let them teach the grammar. A lot of times when you learn language, you're good at reading and writing, but not speaking and listening. So I'm like, all right, y'all don't talk as much, and you're possibly insecure in speaking English, so I'm gonna get y'all to talk as much as possible. So that's what I decided I was doing when I went into the classroom. And then I worked at a public school. That's like your best thing, because some people work at the little academies that are like at night, and they having the blues. I'm like, oh, I'm at a public school. I get to do the day. I have my night to myself and my weekend. And I was gonna do a second year, but then one of my fraternity brothers and friends, because another thing, we say that our organizations are international, but we don't know what that means. There's military chapters all across the world, and so
that's cool.
A lot of my friends when I was in Korea were in the military. And a lot of my sorority sisters and fraternity brothers that were over there were in the military. And so that was the time, I was active in the chapter, and I had to go on the military base for meetings and stuff like that. So he was like, don't you have a degree in animation? I'm like, oh, yes, I do. And so I was like, okay, I guess I'll go back to the States. And I said, I've never seen an inside of an animation studio, so let me email all these Korean companies. And so I went on Google Translate and was like, can I get a tour? One in my city, Gwangju, incubator responded, and then one in Seoul. So I went to the incubator and I was going around. They're like, "Oh, if you can't speak Korean, you can't work here." I was like, I just wanted a tour. I'm not trying to work here. And then they said the same. Well, they didn't say the same thing, but they took me around. And at the end, I'm sitting in the president's office with him and the vice president, which is a woman.
Fancy.
And they're like, "Do you have a demo reel?" I was like, "No, but I can." And so this is the crux of like how I feel like when you're properly prepared, you get what you are asking for. So for the next 4 months in between teaching after school and on the weekend, I did my first demo reel, which is probably the reason I didn't get a job in the States, because I was throwing images up on a website.
You didn't know what you didn't know.
Well, I did know, but but my profession requires a demo reel, but I wasn't doing that. And so I did my first demo reel, and 4 months to the day, sent it to them, and then they invited me back up. I'm like, I hope I'm taking this 3-hour bus ride for a reason. And they offered me a job, and it was scary because I'm like,
why?
Because when you're teaching English, they give you they provide your apartment. And so now I gotta get my own apartment, and I'm a foreigner, and so but when they offered to me, I'm like, okay, God wouldn't present this to me if it wasn't gonna work out. So I just said yes, scared. And then the vice president, because the vice president was one of the people who could speak fluent English, the background lady, and so she helped me a lot with the immigration office, get my new visa and all that stuff, and she helped me find an apartment. She ended up finding a lady who rented it out to like foreign students, so she was always having new people, so I just stayed in one of the rooms there.
That's so cool.
So I always say I accidentally got a job working in Korea. Because I did not do that on purpose. Like, I just wanted a tour, to be honest.
It worked.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay,
and so now people be hitting me up. Oh, how
did you do that?
I'm an HR professional. And I'm like, if you listen to my story, I didn't do this on purpose. So I don't know.
Right. All of this is...
Like, go talk to somebody else.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Man.
So I love that this is like, first of all, you had to have the preparation. So you had the skills, right? And you did what needed to be done to be there. And I think a lot of students don't recognize that. Like even people who go and they do the credentials, right? They get the certifications and that. They're not necessarily working towards the industry required standards that you would want to present when they apply for these jobs. And I think if you had like a mentor who showed you those things, it might have made it a lot easier.
Yeah.
But you just, it took you time and you got there. Yeah. And I feel like that has maybe a lot to do with the organization that you started and what you're doing now. So could you kind of give us a high level overview of your org and what you do and how you're affecting change?
Yeah, so a lot of people who know about Black Woman Animator know it as a YouTube channel, and not a lot of people know that it didn't start as a YouTube channel. It's always been like a moniker, and the earliest I could find is 2008 that I started using Black Woman Animator. And so what I was doing when I moved to New Orleans was I was doing workshops, presentations, and classes to try to get more Black and brown people / girls in animation. And what happened was I realized, because any place that I live, I try to learn the culture of where I live, just so I can navigate it the best. I'm from the Midwest, so talking to random people on the street I did assimilate, but it was weird at first because I feel like the Midwest is nice, but we don't talk to random people all the time. So depending on which city you're from.
Yeah, you're right.
So what I feel like I discovered was people who are from New Orleans / Louisiana either stay or they leave and come back. So I'm trying to prepare all these people for an industry that does not exist here and that they might not be willing to move to LA to go do. And so I felt bad. And so I'm like, okay, let me create a YouTube channel so that I could reach the people who might be willing to move to Los Angeles. And so that's how it started as a YouTube channel. And there was a lot of talking to the camera. And then now I'm more known for my interviews. I interview disenfranchised communities, so people of color. And then when I do have the majority on, I've had someone who was part of Signing Animation, which is a studio for deaf people who want to do
Yeah.
animation.
That's awesome.
And so the way I got started doing interviews was I had like a Dell laptop at the time, and it just was old. And when I would edit in After Effects, I think, and it just was the graphics card was horrible, and so
Probably smoking. Like,
right, it was very loud, and the fan was going. And so when I edited my talking to the video, because I would try to put like little stuff in there, graphics and stuff, and so when I would edit to make it move more smoothly, I would have to create like a black card and put it over there so that the program wasn't rendering the video. It just was like a black screen. So I was editing to the audio.
oh,
And so I was like, what kind of content could I create where it's just easier to do? And so I was like, okay, I can interview people. And so that's me having a crappy computer is why I started the interviews.
I'm seeing
I was like, I could just
this trend.
cut the
You're
beginning and
like,
cut the end.
you're like, computer is being difficult. I don't deal with you no more. And I'm not going to deal with this particular type of editing anymore.
Yeah, I try to problem solve. I try to troubleshoot.
It's the
and all
path
that
of least
stuff.
resistance.
Yeah, because I don't want to quit. Because I feel like I'm doing something that's important. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And
that
you
and
are.
then that's why I wanted to, and I've done videos about that target like parents and stuff like that, because sometimes parents are willing to have their child go into an art related thing, and they still don't know what is happening. So yeah, that's the importance of my platform, is to educate and to with the interviews, like even the way you prep me. A lot of that stuff I do say to my people before I interview them, is that I just like want to highlight you as a full human being, because I feel like a lot of animation podcasts just mine people for gold, and it's like, oh, I just want to get into the industry. How do I do this? How do I do that? How do I do this? What's funny is like my 100th interview was my friend Andre had the idea of interviewing me for my 100th
Oh,
interview.
nice.
And so we did it live. And I was talking about the importance of like highlighting people for who they are. And then like, I was like, okay, y'all ask questions, but they was asking me all the stuff that I say is why I do my interviews the way I'm like, yeah, ask me stuff about me. I said it in the middle of the interview, like, y'all keep asking me about the industry. This about me.
Right. This is my interview.
And because I still identify as an introvert, but I am capable of, having conversation, and, people might mistake me as an
Clearly.
extrovert. Now I don't identify as an introvert, though. I'm an introvert that play extrovert on TV.
You cosplay.
Yeah. So I just have this interesting relationship with, being my full self. So I purposely wanted to be my full self on that live. And even though sometimes I feel like internally, oh, maybe that's off-putting if I say that, but that's my personality. So I just want to be myself.
Yeah.
I'm highlighting other people as they feel full self. So I should be my full self on my interview. So ask me questions about myself, please. Thank you.
Exactly. I'm curious
What's your favorite color?
oh, yeah.
Blue.
Okay.
That's not why I picked Zeta, though. I just...
Oh, wait, I didn't even think about that.
Oh, that's right.
People be picking it because they colors. Now everybody picking for the right reasons. So that's crazy. I like the colors.
Like, you pledge colors.
Oh, no.
That's not why I picked it. So.
But I'm curious about just like the dynamics in the workplace, because I feel like for us in engineering and computing, we are, Black women are not many in our field. And oftentimes we have like microaggressions and things. But I feel like in animation, like what you have is like a talent. It's not something where someone's like, oh, you didn't earn this. It's like, no, look at my portfolio. Like, this is,
Right.
I did this. So like, do you face the same sort of like, I don't know what to call it besides microaggressions, but like from other people in your industry, or like, what is that like in industry?
I feel like the talent piece is what makes it even crazier, because you are in jobs where it's like, you hired me, like you saw my work, and you hired me, and you still acting like I can't do it.
Wow. Wow.
That's crazy.
I understand that. Like,
Why did
I
you
feel
pick
like it's
me?
a personal attack.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
And so, unfortunately, we can still deal with the same stuff. I feel like even though, I have like this light slash mousy voice, I look 10 to 15 years younger than I am. So people think they could try you too. And I'm like, but I'm an
I love
Anderson
it.
and I'm still from Detroit though.
Right.
So I wasn't raised like that. And then moving to to Los Angeles at an older age, I liked moving to Los Angeles in my 30s because even though in my 20s, I don't think I could have been I could have been taken advantage of because of the naivete, not because I'm just like letting people take advantage of me. And so, but I think with added years of like I didn't graduate from college and moved to LA, I had some years to me. I can stick up for myself and other people more, and that doesn't always make it the best workplace. I have been bullied at previous places because I had boundaries, not because I did anything to anybody. And I think sometimes because of my personality of I can be direct. I don't like being direct in a mean way though. Like I just am direct because I'm from the Midwest. I don't believe in the blunt like, oh, this is me. Like, nah. I try to say it nicely, but it's just I can sit there before ChatGPT and everything. I'll sit there for like hours, like how do I say this so that the person don't take offense to it? And I just can't. I don't think like that. I don't think in flowery language, and so I was struggling when I was a manager at Turbo School. I'm like I'm not trying to be mean. I just need you to do. But
like,
I'm
this
living
is a
in the
hot
South.
mess. Do it better.
People talk around the point in the South, and I'm just like I don't know how to talk around the point. So I feel like there is direct and there is rude direct, and I was being direct, but direct is rude in the South. So, so it's been an interesting journey. I would like to, I feel like when Black women become entrepreneurs, it's because we just tired of the stuff. And I feel like maybe I've had experiences at most of my places of business because God want me to be an entrepreneur, but I'm afraid of taxes. So I feel like I'm being taught a lesson and I'm not learning the lesson because I'm not doing what I need to do to just go off on my own. And I'm just like, but I need money.
I don't know. I feel like there's enough of y'all now where it could happen. Like y'all can just Avengers assemble and have all the people necessary to have your full production studio and keep it moving.
Yeah, but because of my personality, and me not just letting you treat me any old kind of way, I do experience probably more than other people do. Because there is the idea like you can be Black but you still can just go with whatever is going on. And so you might endure like, oh, they're taking advantage of you because you're not speaking up. So you can endure that, but it's not necessarily because you're Black or anything. It's just because you're young or you let them do that to you. But because of my personality of like, I am too grown for you to be doing this to me. And I do endure a lot. Whether it's because of my race, my gender, or ageism because you think of what the age you think I am, not the age I actually am. Because I could be getting so much advice. I'm like, I am not 20 nothing. That's advice for 15 years ago. Like, well, okay.
Okay, so Deborah, so this is our What the Heck Tech, where we have a tech topic that's in the headlines that, we're just curious, want to chat about. So there is a Medium article, and the title is, Will AI Destroy Animation as We Know It? So it talks a lot about how AI is being used within lots of different facets of animation, whether it's part of like the creative process or even they said they want to use blockchain to fix things like I don't know the workflow.
Right.
So, but it seems like AI is being embedded into different parts of animation. What are your thoughts about AI being used in this manner?
So, AI is still on a journey in the minds of the animation community, particularly the artists, because currently it's very taboo to if you're like, say you're using animation program, and this is like industry professionals. If you're using AI and you say it, people probably will judge you, because the big thing is about them using art that they didn't ask for permission to use. And so it's already hard enough with on one end, artists aren't respected in general for what we do, because there's this thought of like, because everybody was 5 years old drawing and then we kept going, and so people stopped because it was hard, but then they think it's easy because we kept going, and it's like, no, it was still hard. We just put in the work. And people don't really acknowledge the 10,000 hours concept with artists. They think it's like just came down from heaven. And it's like, no, we actually put in work to become these proficient artists. And so that's why you have people reaching out to you like, oh, could you do this for free? Like, I don't know you, first of all, so why would I do anything for free? And then on the other end of like, it's hard to make money as an artist because people don't respect you. So when you put what you're worth on your artwork or on, your skill set, if it's editing or something like that, people kind of scoff at it unless it's at a company level. And so now you're taking people's work and putting it in a machine so that people can write a prompt to be like, I want to do this person's style, but you didn't pay that person to take their work to put it in the AI, and you're not crediting that person.
Right.
And so it's just a very interesting conversation that is being had. A lot of the people who whether they're artists or weren't artists before AI, they're like, oh, well, AI or art is gate kept, and they kind of make it as this like this pomp and circumstance. And I'm just like, you can go out on the dirt right now and create art. You can create a sandcastle. Why are you acting like it's like some classist thing? You can get a pencil and paper, and if you're broke, go blow your hot breath on the window and draw us. There's accessibility. Like, what are you talking about?
Right. The big art industry is trying to keep me down.
And but they sometimes are talking about the companies in the industry, but you're stealing from people. Like, not, yes, there's people who are doing like Studio Ghibli stuff and all this stuff, but you're stealing from people as well. And so, it's a thing of like, we're on a journey of like, is it going to be here to stay? I think a lot of the animation industry companies who are like laying off a lot of people, they're trying to see how they're going to use it. It's just been a very tumultuous time in the animation industry, just because of, since like COVID was actually a great time for animation, because the live action people couldn't do the in-person thing, and you can do animation from anywhere. So a lot of animated content was actually being created during COVID, and it saved the entertainment industry. But post-COVID, it was like the writer strike, the actor strike. This year, the Animation Guild is redoing their contract. And so a lot of stuff has been put on hold, and the industry is cyclical, but there's like veterans that are out of work, in addition to like people not being able to break into the industry, or younger career people being out of work. So it possibly is here to stay. We still are we don't know how much here to stay it is. There are some worries on a humanity level for me. I don't know. I think for fun. So I just have all these thoughts of like, I was watching an AI animated content, and with lip sync, it's not always exact, but it sometimes when you use AI, it doesn't match up. I'm like, is that going to affect children, where sometimes when you're listening to people's talk, you're reading their lips too. Yeah. And even though with traditional animation it's not perfect, I'm wondering what are the repercussions of live action AI, where when you use real people, they talk and their mouth moves, but if you use AI people and it doesn't move perfectly, will that be something for language or so? I don't know. I be thinking so. So
some kind of
I think when we have this talk about tech throughout the years, throughout the decades, that's why people are saying they're coming out with the studies of like, we did STEM, but you didn't include the humanities, and the humanities is how you think of the human being and the implications of this tech on the human being. And so I think AI is another thing where people are not thinking about the implications on humans, whether it's the artists or the consumers. So
absolutely. No, I know for us, like we see a lot of AI being used in education, and it introduces lots of error, lots of bias,
Yeah.
and just hallucinations. Like, what does that look like in the art world? Like, I know we've seen like one of the giveaways. If you see someone get like an AI generated headshot and they have 7 fingers,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay, we can tell. Like, does it introduce like errors like that?
So it's hard for me to know because I am an artist, and so I have a higher level of what my eyeballs are seeing. So I actually don't know, because when I look at the AI stuff, I'm just like, we have like the Disney and we have the high level stuff, but people are okay with, just like, we have certain things and people are okay with, Tyler Perry and stuff like that. People love that. And so with the AI stuff, it's just like, it's not the best, but people are still okay with it. And so it's actually, I'm not, because I can't look at things as a regular person. I'm like, why do y'all still like this if you've been presented with the better? Right.
Yeah, because you
I
see
am not
everything that we don't.
regular.
Because you're a creator, you're an artist. You see all the things
And
that
so the fact that the
everyone's
mouth is not moving perfectly, people are okay with that. And I actually learned that in the 2010s when I was watching Issa Rae in real time with Awkward Black Girl, and I was watching Black and Sexy TV. That's where I came to the realization that if you have good enough story, people will give you grace on the visuals. But then now it's affecting the people who create the visuals, because people will give you grace. So, like, I saw a Bible story where I think it was like Ruth or something, and a lot of it was just like still image, and then some of it was animated, and it just wasn't. And people were in the comments like, "Oh, this is great," and I'm just like, if people are willing to have like less, or it be less accurate, then that's scary. And so everything is kind of up in the air. Will people get tired of it? Because even with Midjourney now, people are like, oh, now the lay person can tell that it's AI sometimes, because they've seen it so much. Like from the beginning, I could tell it was AI. But some people I wonder if there's going to be some type of fatigue, just like with Marvel, where people are like, okay, can we stop getting Marvel movies? Like, can we get something else? I wonder if there's going to be this fatigue of like, because it looks the same, or because it's not perfect, but because it's just so
it's mad.
gummy
it's
and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
I wonder if people will get the fatigue,
Awkward.
but we don't know yet.
Yeah.
That's a good perspective. I never thought about that.
So it's hard. It's just
you.
like when I'm teaching in class, sometimes I don't know how to think like a beginner, to be like, okay, what you're missing? I need you to ask the question enough for me to get, because I'm an expert at this point. Sometimes I figured it out so I could put certain things in place. But sometimes when you can't think like another version of a person, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it is hard to think back. It's like, okay, assume I don't know anything about this. What do I need to know? But no, that's awesome. Thank you so much.